Hi everyone, I'm Rod and thanks for joining me. This time I'll be looking at Agile Planning. This topic does assume some knowledge of the Agile project delivery methodology, including the use of Agile squads and the roles of product owners and Scrum Masters. While waterfall project plans can stretch out for 6 to 12 months, an Agile plan needs to be short-term in order to allow for faster reactions to changes in the business environment and priorities. Agile planning is not an oxymoron. There can be a Wild West view of Agile that there only needs to be a vague idea of what needs to be delivered soon and just update the priorities and the product backlog on the fly. While Agile is meant to be flexible, there still needs to be formal planning to ensure that the outcomes being delivered by the teams are those items which are of the highest benefit and priority. Thus the goals of this Agile Iteration Planning session are to define or update the sponsor's product backlog, which is an item we'll address a little bit later, to determine the relative business value of each of the items in that backlog, to understand the business risk and the business goals that this iteration will be addressing, understanding of budget constraints, resource availability and delivery capability, and to set out what needs to be achieved over the next 3 months. The most effective method of establishing this iteration plan is to hold a planning workshop, and the optimal time for this workshop is around 2 to 4 weeks prior to the start of the next iteration. Having everyone in the same location for a few focused hours assists in the delivery of an outcome which has consensus and ownership from all of those involved. The attendees of this workshop should be, firstly, the sponsor, who is the business owner who is driving the business goals, understands the priorities of the deliverable items, and holds budgetary control for the squad teams delivering this iteration. Next, we have the squad representatives. Typically, these would be the product owners and the Scrum Masters from each of the squads. Then we need the business SMEs and delivery specialists who can provide additional context for the backlog items and assist in some of the estimations. And finally, it's really handy to have a moderator. This could be a product owner or Scrum Master or perhaps even an Agile coach. Their role is to keep the proceedings moving smoothly, to stop the participants getting too far into solution mode and documenting the outcomes of the session. The planning session is one of the key ceremonies of Agile methodology and is crucial in making sure that the Agile teams are given the right focus and direction. Meeting the goals of the iteration is also an important milestone for teams and a measure of the team's effectiveness and their ability to deliver on time. At the start of the planning session, the sponsor needs to provide a briefing on the business goals, the risks, opportunities and drivers for the next 3 months. They should already have a high-level sponsor's product backlog prepared, and this should include things like projects to be delivered in the near term, system fixes, enhancements and software version upgrades, repaying of technical debt, small work orders, items carried over from the previous iteration plan, and items that are unfinished from the current iteration, as well as problems that need investigation where a solution is not clear. The sponsor should drive the parameters that are used to determine business value. This may include considerations like sales and profitability, customer service and satisfaction levels, keeping pace with technology, remaining competitive in the market, and complying with regulatory change. These metrics are applied to each topic in the sponsor's product backlog to assist in the prioritisation and delivery order. Each item is given a score, and this is used to rank them in accordance to their business value. Once the prioritised list is established, the whole room will be asked to provide their own t-shirt sizing, and a consensus of size is developed from the combined knowledge and experience of the participants. Planning poker is a useful tool here, and if you're not familiar with this, the method is that each person writes down their sizing estimate ranging from extra small to double extra large. Once all the scores are in, their sizing estimates are revealed and any outliers can be discussed. Generally, a consensus of the size will quickly emerge. As an aside, this method is explained somewhat in the mathematical theory of large numbers. An easy to understand example of this is the guess the number of jelly beans in a jar competition. Provided the contestants of this competition cannot see what anyone else has guessed, the larger the number of answers recorded, the closer the median number will be to the actual jelly bean count. So while one individual may not provide a reliable guess, a large group individually will arrive at a very close estimate. This brings us to the sunk cost fallacy. When estimating the business value of items in the product backlog, there can be a temptation to just finish an incomplete item from the previous iteration. And doing so without reviewing, has that incomplete item been delivered to MVP, in which case can the MVP be implemented as is? Or what is the cost to implement this item compared to the additional business benefits still to be delivered on that item? If the benefit being delivered from completing that item is less than the benefit of any new item for a similar cost, then the sunk cost of the work already completed on that item needs to be put aside. Agile is about recognising cost versus benefit, so being able to ignore sunk cost is a critical skill. This incomplete work can still be flagged as an item for a future iteration, such as the beauty of maintaining a persistent product backlog. Now comes the time to determine which team is best placed to pick up each of the product backlog items. An iteration planning wall is very useful to start laying out the approximate timing of each item, the dependencies, the team capacity and the team availability. The visualisation also helps to spot conflicts in the schedule, overloading or gaps where smaller items can be slotted in. This iteration at a glance is a great tool to see the scope of the work being considered, the effort and pace needed to deliver, and to look at how optimistic or aggressive the timings are. Aggressive timelines carry more delivery risk, while a conservative paced approach with a well-defined MVP lowers that risk. A set of contingency tasks can be included on an availability capacity basis and so can be slotted in if time allows. In a mature agile environment, the well-established teams will already understand their areas of expertise and the levels of their secondary knowledge. The product owner and Scrum Master representing each Scrum team will be well positioned to agree on which iteration product backlog items will be assigned to each of the teams. The next step is to review the total consolidated plan, looking at the backlog item priority, business value, team assignments and capacity. From this, an agreement is reached on the overall iteration plan. The sponsor should then commit to accepting this iteration plan as being the maximum scope to be delivered, thereby protecting the squads from the pressures and distractions of scope creep. A change control process should be established and an agreement reached on how much decision discretion the product owners have when it comes to accepting changes in priorities or scope. This is also an appropriate time to confirm the squad's empowerment for decision making and solution design control. This is the squad's license to deliver as they see fit, so that provided they keep within these delegations, they are free to find their own path to the solution. This is the power of the Agile team. Give them the problem and let them sort it out. As an iteration of 3 months notionally at least covers off 13 weeks, it is useful to use the first week as a sprint zero. In this week, the squad can prepare for upcoming work, including breaking the first few epics down into features and stories, preparing the squad's product backlog, and completing planning for Sprint 1. There may also be a need to perform admin tasks like obtaining the required system access, software tools, and for the developers access to the current software build where changes and enhancements are being made to the core systems. Business SMEs can be engaged to brief them on what their involvement will be, and timings around when their expertise and assistance will be required can be established. Sprint Zero also allows the team to catch their breath, to have a lower intensity week away from the pressures of delivering sprints and to prepare them for the upcoming 3 months. Agile delivery pipelines can be unrelenting, so it is important to look after the people in the team, and providing them with an opportunity to throttle back the intensity of work for a few days helps them to set up for success in the next iteration. Having clear goals and priorities from the iteration plan sets up the squads for success. They can build their product backlog, understand what they need to deliver, and prepare for the work ahead. Iteration planning sessions are one of the cornerstone ceremonies of Agile, and they are key to controlling scope, meeting business goals, and delivering business values. Running Agile teams with an ever-growing product backlog with changing business goals leads to team fatigue. Iteration planning provides a method to add checkpoints to the project delivery pipeline and keeps deliveries and the team's focus on tasks that are going to maximise business value. So that's a wrap up for iteration planning. I hope you found it useful and thank you for watching.